So you want to own a food truck. From the outside, it looks simple. You buy a truck, you slap a menu on the side, you park somewhere with a lot of foot traffic, and you sell tacos or burgers or dumplings to people who are too lazy to cook. Low overhead, no landlord, total freedom. That's the pitch. Here's the number that should stop you before you get excited. There are roughly 35,000 food trucks operating in the United States right now, generating a combined industry revenue of about $1.7 billion a year. That sounds massive until you divide it out. That's an average of under $50,000 in annual revenue per truck once you account for the fact that a small number of high-volume trucks in cities like Austin, Portland, and LA are pulling in $400,000 to $600,000 a year and dragging the average up. The median truck is doing far less than that. Here's the second number that sharpens the picture. The failure rate for food trucks in their first 3 years is estimated at somewhere between 60 and 65%, which is worse than the failure rate for full brick-and-mortar restaurants. That's the paradox sitting at the center of this business. Everyone assumes a truck is the safe, cheap way into the restaurant industry. In reality, it's often a harder business to run profitably than the restaurant it's supposed to be a stepping stone toward, because almost none of the risk actually went away. It just changed shape. Understand where that risk moved, and you understand this business. Miss it, and you'll go bankrupt owning one of the most romanticized businesses in your city. So let's zoom out first. Why does this industry exist at all? And why has it grown the way it has? The food truck industry has roughly doubled in size over the last decade, and the growth isn't random. It's tied to two very specific, very current forces. The first is commercial real estate. Restaurant lease rates in major metro areas have climbed into the $35 to $75 per square foot per year range, depending on the city. And with interest rates still elevated into 2026, landlords are passing financing costs straight into rent. A truck sidesteps that entirely. The second driver is labor. Full-service restaurants need front-of-house staff, back-of-house staff, and management layers. A truck can run profitably on a crew of 2 or 3. So who's actually buying? You'd assume it's just hungry pedestrians grabbing lunch. But the real customer driving the profitable end of this industry is the corporate and event booker. The office park HR manager scheduling a weekly truck rotation, the wedding planner booking a truck for a reception, the brewery owner who wants a permanent food partner parked in their lot every Friday and Saturday night. That segment pays predictably, pays well, and doesn't depend on whether it rained today. And that demand isn't going anywhere. Commercial catering and event bookings for mobile food have grown steadily because companies now treat food trucks as a cheaper, more flexible alternative to full catering contracts. You don't pay for waitstaff, plates, or leftover food. You just pay a flat rate or a guaranteed sales minimum, and the truck handles everything. Now, not all food trucks are the same business, and this is where most first-time owners get confused because they think food truck is one category with one economic profile. It's actually 4 or 5 distinct business models wearing the same disguise. The first is the street parking daily grind truck, the one parked downtown or near office buildings, selling to walk-up foot traffic. This model runs the thinnest margins, typically 6 to 10% net, because it's fighting for parking, fighting weather, and fighting inconsistent daily volume. The second is the event and festival circuit truck, which chases weekend festivals, concerts, and fairs. This model can post 20 to 30% net margins on a good event weekend because festival organizers guarantee foot traffic and often waive or reduce vendor fees for popular vendors. But it's extremely seasonal and geographically dependent. A truck built around festival season in a cold weather state might only have 6 profitable months a year. The third is the corporate catering and private event truck, which books ahead for office, lunches, weddings, and company parties. This is the highest margin segment, often 25 to 35% net, because pricing is negotiated upfront and volume is guaranteed regardless of walk-up traffic. But it requires sales and relationship-building skills that most cooks don't have, and building that client base can take a year or more. The fourth is the brewery or commissary partner model, where a truck parks semi-permanently at a brewery, distillery, or business park under an exclusive or semi-exclusive agreement. Margins here land in the 15 to 20% range, and the trade-off is stability in exchange for giving up a cut, usually 10 to 20% of revenue, to the host location. Each of these is a genuinely different business with a different risk profile, And most owners who fail picked the wrong one for their skill set. They're a great cook who tried to run a sales-driven catering operation, or a natural salesperson who parked on a street corner and waited for volume that never showed up. Let's strip this down to the core mechanics, because underneath all the branding, a food truck is a brutally simple operating model. You buy ingredients. You cook them into a menu with a target food cost percentage. You sell that menu at a location with a certain number of transactions per hour. That's it. But there's one number that matters more than anything else in this business, and it's not revenue. It's covers per hour, meaning how many transactions you can push through your service window. Here's why that number dominates everything else. Your truck has a fixed daily cost, whether you sell 10 tacos or 300. The loan payment on the truck, insurance, the commissary kitchen fee, your own labor, your employees' wages for the shift, propane, and permit costs. Let's say those fixed daily costs come out to $380 for a typical service day. Now let's say your average ticket is $12 with a food cost of 32%, meaning you keep roughly $8.16 in gross margin per ticket before fixed costs. At 40 transactions in a 4-hour lunch window, that's $326.40 in gross margin. You haven't even covered your fixed costs yet, so you're operating at a loss that day. Push that to 70 transactions, a very achievable number for a well-located truck during a strong lunch rush, and you're at $571.20 in gross margin, which clears your fixed costs and leaves you with about $191 in profit for the day. That's the entire game. The difference between 40 and 70 transactions per hour window is the difference between losing money and making money, and almost none of that swing shows up in your fixed costs. It's pure marginal profit once you clear the break-even line. This is why location and speed of service matter more than menu creativity. A truck that can turn a customer in 90 seconds instead of 3 minutes can physically serve twice as many people in the same lunch rush. And that alone can be the difference between a truck that fails and one that thrives. So what does it actually take to get into this business in 2026? Start with the truck itself. A new, fully built-out commercial food truck with a hood suppression system, generator, refrigeration, and cooking equipment runs somewhere between $90,000 and $175,000, depending on size and equipment level. Used trucks in decent condition can be found in the $40,000 to $80,000 range. But you're inheriting someone else's maintenance issues. And a used truck with an aging generator or a failing transmission can eat your first year of profit in repair bills. Beyond the truck, you need a commissary kitchen. Most cities legally require your truck to be based out of a licensed commercial kitchen for food prep and overnight parking, since you generally can't prep food or store your truck at a private residence. Commissary rental typically runs $400 to $1,200 a month, depending on the market. Then come permits. And this is where first-timers get blindsided. You need a mobile food vendor permit, a health department permit, a fire department inspection for your propane and suppression systems, and in many cities, individual parking or vending permits for specific zones. And some of the most desirable downtown corridors have vendor permits that are capped in number and only released through an annual lottery or waitlist system, meaning you can have a fully built truck and nowhere legal to park it for months. Insurance for a commercial food truck, covering the vehicle, general liability, and product liability, runs $3,500 to $8,000 a year. Add an initial equipment and smallware build-out of $8,000 to $15,000, an initial inventory stock of $2,000 to $4,000, and branding and wrap design at $3,000 to $6,000, and you start to see the real number forming. Let's build the actual startup budget, because this is where the fantasy meets the spreadsheet. Say you're buying a solid used truck for $65,000. Add a full equipment refresh and safety compliance update at $12,000, since used trucks almost always need something brought up to current code. Add your commissary deposit and first 3 months at $3,600. Add your city mobile vendor permit and health permit fees, which in a mid-sized city typically total $1,200 to $2,500 combined. Add fire suppression system certification and inspection at $900. Add insurance for the first year, paid up front, at $5,500. Add your initial food inventory and paper goods at $3,000. Add branding, truck wrap, and a point-of-sale system with card readers at $7,500. And here's the line almost nobody budgets for. Working capital to cover the first 3 months of operating losses while you build a customer base and lock in event bookings, because almost no truck is profitable in month 1. Budget at least $15,000 for that runway. Add it all up, and you're looking at a realistic total startup cost of roughly $114,000 for a modest, well-equipped used truck operation. And that's the lean version. A brand new custom-built truck with a premium wrap and full commercial kitchen build-out can easily push total startup costs past $200,000. Now let's talk about what you actually make, and let's be honest about both ends of the spectrum. At the top of the industry, you have operators like Kogi BBQ in Los Angeles, which essentially pioneered the modern gourmet food truck concept and built a fleet generating millions in annual revenue through a combination of daily street sales, catering, and eventually brick-and-mortar expansion. That's the dream version, and it's the exception, not the rule. The realistic independent operator, running a single truck with a strong lunch rotation and a handful of weekend events or catering bookings per month, is typically looking at annual revenue somewhere between $150,000 and $300,000. After food costs, typically 28 to 35% of revenue, labor costs for 1 or 2 employees, fuel, commissary fees, insurance, permit renewals, and loan payments on the truck itself, a well-run single truck nets somewhere between $15,000 and $45,000 a year in true owner profit. And that's before accounting for the owner's own labor, which is usually the biggest unpaid cost in the entire business, since most owners are working 60-plus hour weeks between prep, service, and cleanup. The path to real money in this business isn't running one truck harder. It's adding a second and third truck to spread fixed costs like a shared commissary and shared branding across more revenue, or shifting the revenue mix toward catering and events, where margins are double or triple what you get from street parking. The risks that can wreck this business are specific and unglamorous. A single mechanical breakdown, a blown generator, or a failed transmission can take a truck offline for 2 to 3 weeks and wipe out a month of profit in repair costs and lost revenue simultaneously. A city can revoke or fail to renew a coveted parking permit. A competitor truck can park 50 feet away and split your lunch rush in half. And weather, especially in markets without a long, warm season, can turn a projected $300,000 revenue year into a $180,000 one with no warning and no recourse. So should you actually do this? This business is genuinely well-suited for someone with real food and beverage operating experience. Someone who's worked a restaurant line, understands food cost percentages instinctively, and can run a tight, fast service under pressure. Because speed of service is the single biggest lever in this entire model. It's also suited for someone willing to treat the sales and booking side of the business as seriously as the cooking side, since the highest margin segment of this industry isn't parked on a street corner. It's booked 3 weeks in advance for a corporate lunch or a wedding. It is not suited for someone chasing a lifestyle fantasy of cooking what I love and being my own boss, because the reality is 60-hour weeks, mechanical repair bills, permit bureaucracy, and a break-even line that moves every single day depending on how many people you can serve in a 4-hour window. If you go in with $15,000 to $20,000 of experience-backed confidence, but not the operational discipline to hit your covers per hour number, you will lose the business before you learn the lesson. The food truck industry didn't shrink the risk of the restaurant business. It just repackaged that risk into a smaller, faster-moving box, and the owners who win are the ones who understood that from day one. Own the rush, or the rush will own you.